Welcome back, although it's probably not much of a welcome. You probably just clicked the second video right after the first. You should know that I took a nice little 5-minute break, finished my coffee, and time flies when you're on the internet. Anyway, let me talk to you about the work that you're going to be doing this week and throughout the course generally. So one of the first things I would encourage you to do, in addition to completing your reading, and obviously, you know, we'll co-equally approach week 1 work, look ahead to module 3 and module 6 and start to get some perspective on that midterm and that final project. The midterm, which I will predominantly discuss in somewhat greater detail in week 3, is to create job documents. That's a resume, a cover letter, and a thank you letter, all in response to an actual job. So as I said in the intro video, I think, if I'm not mistaken, boy, I can't remember exactly what I do. This should be a job for which you are reasonably qualified. And it should be a job that if you couldn't get it today, my general allowance is within the next 6 months. So if you're about to graduate and the job requires that you have a bachelor's degree, that's fine. If you are about to graduate and the job requires that you have 6 years experience in a PhD, no, don't apply for that job. You will not get it. So we are trying to keep this in the ballpark of actionable for you. The final project is a long-form report and a presentation. That is a group project. I'm going to form groups in week 2 so that you can immediately start kind of brainstorming on that. This will all be dealt with in an announcement. It is always my job to kind of help you manage these projects as time goes on. But the first priority there is to just get you in a group. I think that's a little premature to do it this week because you're just barely orienting yourself to the course. Let's talk a little bit about the work that you're going to be doing, most of which is intended to sort of ease you into what we're going to be doing over the next 6 weeks. So, going through these projects, you've got 4 companion projects and a minor project. The first companion project is a discussion. Easy enough. It's, as I say, the obligatory introduce yourself activities. So I want you to post to the discussion thread. I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself. I want to know what you do for fun. I want to know what you plan to do after college. You should give us a short biography, probably in the ballpark of 200 to 300 words. Help us really get to know something about you. I also want you to then come back and talk to a couple of your classmates. Look for common interests. Look for familiar names from classes that you've taken before. Make some friends. That's what I'd like you to do in this first discussion. Should be an easy 10 points for everybody. Do your post, do your response. Beautiful. I also then ask you to participate in another discussion. This one is a little bit different. This one does not require you to respond. All I'm looking to do here is to build up essentially a mini catalog of technical writing examples. So all I need you to do for this companion project 2 is to find a example of technical or professional communication. You can look for this in the library. You can look for this just with a Google search, whatever. Just find one and try to give us a brief summary of why this to you is a useful or meaningful or interesting piece of technical writing. It's not a very formal assignment. Don't worry about being right or about being wrong. I mean to come back and leave a comment on these discussions and just say, yeah, that's a really good example of this genre, or to just point out, you know, well, this is interesting. I'm not sure this really exemplifies technical writing, and through that process, we'll sort of all of us get our heads around this idea of what is technical writing and what is writing in the workplace. So again, don't worry too much about being right. Don't worry too much about being wrong. Explore this topic for yourself a little bit. Search for workplace communication or technical writing, and just find something that interests you and share it with the class. For that should be another easy 10 points. You do have a grand total of 2 quizzes. One is on the syllabus and one is on the discussion notes that I've provided. Again, quizzes are open book, open note, and they're not timed. Additionally, this semester, this is something new for me. I am not giving you deadlines for the quizzes. Everything else does have a due date. So your discussions, your minor projects, those are due when they're due. And there is a modest penalty for turning things in late. If things are very late, it's a much more serious penalty. But if you're late by a day, it's just a point or two. It's not a huge deal. Quizzes, on the other hand, hey, if you don't have the time this week, do it next week. If you feel overwhelmed next week, you can do it in week 3. The only hard and fast rule on the quizzes, as it is with any and all work, is you must have it all in by the end of this class. At the end of this class, all assignments go dark. So at 11:59 p.m. on the final day of this semester, everything vanishes and you will not be able to complete it. So you have to have it done by then, but otherwise, take your time on these quizzes. There's no reason to not get basically perfect scores. And if you're not getting perfect scores, if you're off by half a point, that's just going to happen sometimes. It's probably not a big deal, and we'll address it on a case-by-case basis. If you're finding the quizzes really difficult, then you should set up a Zoom conference with me, and we should talk about that and get you on a plan of work and help to clarify what these things are doing so that you're getting the scores that you're after. All right, the second reading quiz is going to cover chapters 1 and 9 of the Markel and Selber text. Again, read carefully, pay attention, and take your time. The final thing I'm going to have you do this week, a minor project, and minor projects, like I said before, they're the thinkers, they're the slightly more challenging exercises that do require you to do more than just repeat what you've learned. This is going to be due on Sunday of week 1. You're going to write me a letter, and I want to emphasize that this should be in block letter format. This is not the time to get fancy. I want you to look up block letter format basics. I don't remember if I give you a link here or not, but I do provide examples, and Markel and Selber certainly show you what one looks like. No letterhead, no color, no fancy fonts, basic block letter. And that block letter is going to describe the job that you're looking for as a aspiring professional, as a student, presumably in computer science or information technology. So have a look there. There are some specific questions that I ask. There are also, again, just the basic admonition of think about what your reader needs to know. Think about what your reader would be interested in and write to that. One thing I would point out here, notice the rubrics. The rubrics for each assignment do give you some idea of what I'm looking for specifically. Right off the bat, every assignment has a baseline score. That's basically 50% credit. And then you have a timeliness score. So just turning things in on time basically gets you a C. So if you do it on time and you do it within a reasonable approximation of my expectations, you are all but guaranteed to pass the course, and you can only go up from there. So look at the rubrics, pay attention to the assignment briefs, understand what I'm asking for, and if you aren't 100% clear, just email me. I am happy to help clarify anything that you need. My email address is vmalish@fiu.edu. That's vmalesh@fiu.edu. It is all over the syllabus. It's on the intro. It's basically everywhere. I'm pretty easy to get a hold of, and I'm happy to help. Okay, that wraps up your expectations for Module 1. You'll see me next week, Module 2. You'll also see some of this in an announcement. Again, anytime you have questions, anytime you just want to talk shop, I am available. I do love communicating. I do love working with you. So please just drop a line to my email address. Okay, I will see you next week. Work hard. I'm looking forward to seeing what you turn in, and have a great week. Welcome to 3249.